Another day in Final Fantasy 14 is don't look over there. What the fuck am I getting myself into? Oh my god. What an amazing username right there. Holy shit. So here I am. I'm back in it. I'm back in 14 for the millionth time. Actually, I haven't really been playing it as much as of late. But today I am here with one goal, and that is to make a fan cam, I guess. I don't know. As of recording this is literally all I have. I rendered this all in 480p, and I tried to make it look as god awful as possible, but in a very aesthetic way. Like, this is not gonna be crisp. Like, it just, it makes it look, as they would say, aesthetically pleasing. This shot right here took a fucking pain in the ass to get working because it was a horizontal video and not like a vertical video. I hope I'm getting my axes right because of that I wanted it to pan upward so you kind of see more of the focus, which is the little red mage crystal, by the way. That's what it's called. Because I wanted to do this, but for some reason when I was doing that, it would make this like a black screen, black border, and then it would slowly creep more and more upward, or I guess downward, and I'd be like, oh, there's something there, even though there is something there. So I had I had to pan this out, then render it, then put it back in the project. It was a pain in the ass. My stupid ass accidentally used too much power and I accidentally broke the fuse. I like how my Switch was the only thing not affected by this, even though I wasn't playing it. Well, okay. I have to make sure. Let me swap. Yeah, what the fuck was that? That was a glitch just now. It said that I was attuned to white magic there when both of my mana was empty. I don't know how that happened, but that was really weird. I don't know how to trigger that again. I was just out here doing stuff for the video, and I just noticed that real quick, and I was like, oh shit, that's really fucking weird. I don't know how I got that visual glitch to happen, but it happened. Well, because I can't manipulate in-game time, it is currently, 11 p.m. in game time. I'm waiting for it to be morning because I want to do this shot in either the morning or the daytime, at least early day, before it like turns nighttime. So in the meantime, I guess I'm just passing my time to play with some Animal Crossing or something. I don't fucking know. Let's go. It is now finally out there, which means I can delete all this shit. Thank God. Oh my god, there's so many goddamn clips. So now the video is actually done, I'll show off my full timeline. There it is. If I unmute this, it's gonna sound like literal hell. Well, probably not that bad, but some of these clips are really bunched together, so it will probably be kind of crazy. But I want to just talk about my thought process going into this and just showing stuff and I guess doing a little commentary over it. Because I thought that would be neat. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. So, if you're wondering why I went with the whole, like, old ass BHS like video, it was really because, like, I was thinking of the song first, and I was torn between either using Plastic Love or Emotional Prism, but I ended up going with Emotional Prism because when I looked at the lyrics to both, like I translated lyrics to both, Plastic Love's lyrics don't really like go well with my character, and Emotional Prism fits a little bit more. At least I thought it did. And I also just like how Emotional Prism feels, and I think it's more underrated than Plastic Love. So I don't know, maybe less people would hear it, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." So yeah, that was my thought process behind it. And I also haven't listened to Emotional Prism in a long time. The first time I heard that song was in 2017, which is like 3 years ago now. Holy shit! And I was like thinking about it again. And I was like, that could fit really well. And also, I could do some cool edits with that. So yeah, that's the whole reason why. Because like, I was introduced to that song as a vaporwave song. Apparently, it's actually city funk or city pop or what is it? Apparently, it's future funk. That's what it actually is. I thought it was vaporwave, but it's not, which makes me a little bit sad because I thought it was a vaporwave song, but I guess it doesn't really matter. It's good music, so yeah. So at the beginning here, I just kind of grabbed some like stock footage. I like it starting off a VHS tape and whatnot. This was actually kind of a pain in the ass to do because when I got this footage, the thing about it is that I got it in widescreen and not what is it? It's not standard definition. It's 4:3. That's the word I'm looking for. So it wasn't 4:3. So I actually had to like crop and edit it in a way where it looks like it's 4:3, but it's not 4:3. It was very weird. I got it to look nice enough, so which is good because I was very afraid that it would be kind of noticeable. Like if we go back a bit, maybe you can't tell because it's the same video, but like spliced and both of them are on top of each other. It's really weird. I don't know how to fully explain it. And then there's my Hrothgar. The main reason why I went with like this as the opener because it's his face for one thing. And when I originally did the first edit of this, so I was using a video of him talking. I thought that looked really cool, and it was one of the first things of footage, so that's why I went in the beginning there. Matter of fact, you can find the original edit somewhere. It's out there because I know I uploaded it to Twitter somewhere, and it's a completely different video. And the reason why is because I had to actually retake it because in that one, his map movements are way too slow and less less exaggerated, and it didn't really fit with the tone of the song. I needed a little bit more out of it. I also kind of like this camera angle more. I think it's way more dramatic. All the clips have like this little bit of like TV artifacts on them, like you're watching them off of an old TV. I made it based off of a preset effect in Movie Studio because I'm using Sony Movie Studio to edit this, which is basically like it's kind of like Sony Vegas, but it doesn't have like all the features that Sony Vegas has, but it might as well have most of them. Like I think it only doesn't have like a few effects on like that I can't use, but for the most part, it's basically just like Sony Vegas. So, but basically, I use that and I edited a little bit so it looks kind of grainy because I didn't want to look too staticky because then I think the picture quality would suffer too much. I want it to suffer enough where it's believable that this is a old VHS, but not to the point where it looks kind of absolutely garbage. So then I just put this here because it's like, oh, it's loading up the VHS, and I thought that looked kind of like neat. I don't think VHSs when they actually load up they show the little like what do you call this, like test signal or whatever. But I thought it would be kind of neat to just put it there just for a few frames because it's only there for like what? It's only there for wow, it's there for a lot longer than I thought that was there for. That's there for about 20 frames, huh? Actually, if I were remaking this video, I would probably make that a lot shorter. So here's the first shot of the actual video. This isn't the first shot I filmed, but it was the first shot I put in here. Now this is actually really cool because I think this would be kind of impossible to do if I didn't crop the video like I do, like to have it by 4:3, because you could see the zoom slider if I did that. Like here, I'll just like uncrop this for a second there, and we'll put it on like how it actually looks normally, and you can see it in the corner right there, because there's no way to just like hotkey a zoom or to tell it to zoom by itself or whatever. I did that manually. Like if we actually go back, you can see me like adjusting it. Did I slow this down? I think I slowed this footage down. Yeah, I slowed it down so it's way more smooth. But you can kind of just see it in the corner there. So when I did the crop like that, oh, I didn't crop it like this. I think I Let's go back. I cropped a little bit more to the left there, but I cropped it out and it looks really nice and smooth. Like I don't even know how I would do that if that weren't the case. Like if I did this normally and not gimmicky, I don't think a zoom like that would be possible. Or if I did do it like that, I'd still have to crop it anyways. So it'd just be a pain in the ass. I know what some of you were probably thinking, why don't you just use like the mouse wheel or something like that to zoom in and out? And I guess that could work. It's just the problem is it's when you zoom out that way and you zoom in and out that way, it's a very much a set distance. And it's not as smooth as if you were to just I don't know, just like slowly move in and out like this. Like it would be way too dramatic, even if I were to slow it down or speed it up. It just wouldn't look as smooth. Anyway, it's like at the end of the shot here, and I have the music muted just for the hell of it, because it's gonna get this video copyright claimed for just a small part of it, and I'm just like, I don't want to deal with that. And you can see I do the little zoom, and then on top of that, like I even zoom in even more for emphasis when he turns his head to face towards you. This part was actually really cool because something I actually realized because I was messing in G pose is that there are some actions that are mapped to your buttons. One of those actions that is mapped is like the character actually looking towards the camera, which I thought that was really handy. And without that, the shot wouldn't be possible as well, because I just, as it zooms in, I just look at the camera. I also do like a manual crop here, where I manually crop it to put emphasis on his face like that, because it's just more dramatic that way. Like, I made sure it was pretty zoomed in. I didn't want to, like, I could have just zoomed in on his whole face there and just cropped it so just his face, but I feel like you lose a lot without the crossed arms expression there. So, but yeah, just for a second there, it just light up soon. There's no like pan to the zoom. It's just the zoom. Then we got me using the Living Dead here. I don't know. I just thought this went well with the scream. I kind of just recorded like some when I first started to do this. This is actually one of the first shots I did record. I was doing random battle animations and then just deposing it, just be like, oh, I could probably use this later. And I really like how this one came out. I was thinking about doing this without the effect, because I have done that before for one of the G poses. I actually did. But I decided to keep it in because it's just, I don't know, I like the emphasis of it. Then there's just this is just kind of like whatever. Like, there's nothing crazy going on here. I just need something to fill it. This is actually kind of funny, because this is one of the last shots I actually took. And this was a shot that I probably should have had in earlier. Not like as in the video, like I should have actually shot this one earlier. Because in theory, it makes a lot of sense because, for people who do know, I have a shit ton of Round Reborn Reds. And I bought a ton when the seasonal event happened, just to stockpile them. I also sell them on the market board too sometimes to get some money. But just because it is technically a limited time emote that you can not only buy with your gil, but it's also like limited in the sense that it's like once you use them all up, you can't use that emote anymore unless you buy it from somebody else. So I have, at least I used to have, over 10,000 bottles of Realm Reborn Red. So I was like thinking to myself, I have to include it in here. I do like how I timed it too, because there's like a beat that goes off. It's like do 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 do, and then when it goes do, like when that beat happens, I'll play it for a hot second because it's only like a little moment here. When that beat happens right there, I don't know if you caught that. It's like the. It sounds like he's actually breaking open the bottle. And then the music's kind of like, not like flat lines, but it kind of like stays kind of similar-ish. I don't know, the way that sounds, it kind of just sounds like he's actually doing that animation. And I thought it was a good fit there. This is a few of my friends were all dancing on this little arc that was at the FC house I just bought when we recorded this footage is actually old. Like, when I say old, it's not like super old. Like, I think it's a few days before I started this, but this footage wasn't made for this. But I was like, I have to include it because it's kind of amazing. Because everybody's just in sync, and we're all on this little arc here. And I don't know, I thought it was cool, and it fit with the music. Not a lot to say about this shot. This I actually intentionally kept as a black screen. I didn't want to keep it purely black though, because it just didn't look right. Because then it's like, oh, this part is just like weirdly blank and crisp. So I did actually put a filter over it, and I actually cropped the filter too. So it still kind of fits in with that vibe that this is like a 480p video when it's not really. Like, there's just nothing going on here. But I kept this blank because there's like a part of the song where it kind of like, not quiets, but there's the energy is kind of like lost for a second there. Just so it dramatically goes to the next shot, and then where it goes like da 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 da. So for that, all I did there was I have my Hrothgar doing. Would you believe me if I told you that's the surprise, like shocked face, like as in like what the fuck kind of face? Because he looks so happy. I don't know, maybe it's just because of how they rank Hrothgar, but anyways, I just thought that would be cool if I did like a ton of it because I recorded like originally I just recorded the where is the one? Yeah, just this one where he's just kind of like doing it because I thought that would be kind of cool. Like the zoom in for it looks really nice, and I was like, wait, what if I just kind of mash a ton of these together when it goes da 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 da? And I was like, oh, that kind of works. And at first, this shot right here wasn't gonna be along with them. I was gonna have like some other footage here that I actually reuse later in the video. But I was like, it felt kind of weird to have that because it's like it's still going on like that same instrument or beat or whatever the hell you call it. So it still sounds kind of similar. So you're kind of expecting that to happen. Like here, I'll play it for a second here. And because it sounds like so samey, like the beat that I'm basing off on, which is the da 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 da. It felt kind of weird just to put something else there because it's kind of like, oh, you're expecting kind of the similar thing right there. Well, actually, it ends right here. So I cut that a little bit early, but I think you get the point. And it's just kind of like, oh, it fits. And they're all different outfits just for more emphasis too. It's kind of weird because like the first one is like really zoomed in and all the other ones aren't. And that was not intentional. I just didn't think about it. I kind of wanted these to also be at like I tried to make them as different angles as I possibly could just so it's not like the same shot but like a different background. So there's that. I already talked about how this was a pain in the ass to fucking get in here. It's funny because even in the 60 frames per second version of this is still, I think I rendered this at 30 or something because it doesn't look perfect. I might have rendered it at 30. I don't actually remember. All I remember is it just was a pain in the ass to get set up. So this is a shot which was an afterthought. Not one of the last shots I made, but it was a shot that I didn't think was going to look as fluid as it does because it was just kind of like, well, I want the Red Mage battle pose and the Red Mage victory pose in here. Oh, I'm sorry, Red Mage battle stance is what the emote is called. So I wanted both of those in there because I really like those animations. And I mainly play Red Mage because that's my main here. A lot of people get angry because I have a very blue Red Mage. And I'm just like, I don't care. I just really like swords and magic and the color blue. I do also like wearing the traditional Red Mage outfit a lot, which you actually do see in this because it's an outfit I do go back to occasionally. because it's really nice. So when I start this up here, which by the way, I'm playing this at half speed to hopefully avoid cap rate, and also just so you can kind of see what's going on here. Is like, so it starts like right here. It's like a continuous shot. And luckily, one thing I was very glad to find out while doing this, well, I knew it was a thing, but I never messed with it, is that Final Fantasy XIV, when you are in a G pose, you can actually save the camera angle for later. And this includes even when you log off. I actually didn't know that. I thought if you log back, like if you logged out and log back in, it wouldn't save it, but luckily it does. And that's really helpful. So what I'm doing here is I'm just raising the sword. I'm just continuously doing the animation. Oh, this one's actually just a little out of sync. Like, this one's a little behind, but I don't really mind it too much because the end result's still the same. I also was trying to make it so like the shot would repeat just a little bit or just be a little bit behind. I don't really mind it too much, is my point there. Like, it doesn't match up with other ones, but like it goes with the beat of the song, so I really don't mind it. This one I kinda like did this shot right here in what is the second dungeon of Shadowbringers called? I forget what it's called. It's the Fey dungeon. But I'm looking at it now. I wonder if this was even like a good. Even when I was filming it, I was like, "This is too blue." And also on my second monitor, I can't even tell the. I can't even like see the static effect there as well. So, but it looks overly saturated, so it's still believable. It makes me wonder. And then there's that, which this was like, ironically, in is it Western Korthos? It's where you meet like Lady Iceheart, which I won't really get into story stuff in here just in case because I don't want to spoil anything. But like, you meet her in this area and there's a cutscene here. That's where this is. I originally went there just to kind of get like something like an ice or snow area because I realized that's like one of the few areas I didn't really film at. But then I kind of went in here and I was like, oh, I guess this works. And I kind of like how the floor looked. And I really like this shot coming up because it's like, obviously it's a different camera angle, and that actually matches up with the animation. Like, I made sure that matches up. I just thought that was like really cool because it's one of the few times where I actually like follow up with a different camera angle. Because the other times usually the camera is very static, and if I wanted to do something like this, I'd have to like, it'd be a pain in the ass. But it was really cool to do it here. So then, anyways, I was like, oh, he's like swiping the sword. Maybe I can get him to wipe them out. There's also going to be that black bar there. That's because we're viewing this. The preview viewer is in 1080p. And because of that, there's going to be blank space there where normally it would just slide in. So on the 1080p version, what I would end up doing is that I have the thing under here. A video feed under here where it stays there. So when it actually when the next video pushes itself in here, it pushes itself over, and it doesn't look clean here. But that's because I have to change a setting for it to look clean. So it took a little bit of work to get it to look good, but I did eventually. Like, here, let me. So I turned the setting off now, and as you can see here, it actually slides the way I want it to slide. Of course, it still sucks because it's going over like the black border still, but it's better than nothing. So let me just put that back on now. Just keep that in mind because it happens one more time, and then I never use that slide again. Not because I don't like it or anything. I was like, it doesn't really fit with like everything. I don't need like a transition like that for every time I move to a different video. The irony of this clip here is that it was just supposed to be like a faster, slower clip, but then I decided to give it all this time here. So I can it even goes into that part. That wasn't originally going to do that. Oh yeah, let me mute that again, just so it doesn't look weird. But I wasn't going to like have that. I was actually gonna have this cut off a little bit faster and earlier, and it was gonna be my white mage clam, and it's using size, but it felt really forced, and the size animation is very short as well, so it just didn't work. It was not that it was too snappy. It just, I don't know. Maybe I guess it was in that regard. It felt forced. This was a fun shot to edit because I use the don't animation and then I save the camera angle. I move it slightly, and then eventually it just kind of turns to face the viewer. I thought that was actually like really cool, but like finding different locations to shoot at was kind of a pain, but I made it work out. And I'm every time I have like a cut like this where it's splicing in between different locations, I wanted to also splice in my different glamours just to kind of have this emphasis of, oh, these are all different. I don't know, just it looks cool in my head. That's the reason why I did it. This next shot, I'm surprised I had nobody run in the background, because I think I did all of these except for like the one in Limsa in the very beginning. Like in the very beginning when I'm doing the surprise space. Like all of these I did without having any filters for other players or whatnot. So I'm actually very surprised where here in what is it, the tavern in Grandia? New Grandia, I think that's what it is. How you say that? Is it Grandia? Grandia? I don't remember. But I'm just surprised there wasn't like someone running in the background there. As a matter of fact, when I'm like at the first shot of this, like where I'm doing a little zoom in, I actually should have asked somebody to cameo, like running in the background or something. That would have been actually really cool. Like that's something I kind of regret. Like I kind of wish I did like be like, hey, does anybody want to cameo in this? That would be neat. And here's like the little Eureka emote, because I use that emote a lot. I think it's a really cute one. And then this was the original, like this is one of the first things I actually recorded in here. Because when I originally thought of this music video, this little fan cam music video, this was the exact shot I was thinking about. Like, what if like when he's throwing the sword in the air, he's doing a little thing like that? What if it was like, what if he swapped all of his outfits and kind of like Flash to be like, oh hey, these are my other glamours that I wear as Red Mage. And then it cuts back to me in the Rebel's coat, and then I only cut it to here because I was like, oh, it looks fluid. Not really, just for any other reason. There was going to be like a cut after this, but I got rid of it for this part where I'm like, oh, where I do the little consider emote and then I shrug. My friend Abby, they wanted me to do that. And at first I was kind of like, I like my original shot more because it finishes off the emote here. Because you don't actually get to see the end of the emote, like it's still in the middle of it. But like after like actually seeing this and adjusting it, I kind of like this because it's kind of cute. Because it's like, oh, because the whole thing is kind of like, it starts off with like there's a little story going on here. Think about it, where it's like, oh, he's trying to impress you, and he's like drunk, and he's like, oh, I got it, and he does a little red mage pose, and it's like, oh, did it work? And it's like, no, and he shrugs. He's like, I don't know what to tell you. And I guess in that case, when it goes to this shot, which is this is just delirium, by the way. I just thought the animation was cool, but it's like, oh, like he hurts himself. He feels bad that he can't impress you, and then like he prays that maybe he can impress you. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much into this because I did actually put, for the most part, I didn't really plan on any like story, like deeper meaning to any of this, because it's just like a bunch of clips blended together just to make something.
Because from what I understand from looking at like other people who do it, it's just kind of like, oh, character does thing and it looks cool, and that's for the most part when I've seen them. That's basically what it is. Or characters doing something that's like, oh, that's neat. There's no like story or narrative, but I guess I accidentally crafted one, so I'm going with it, and then it's just. This is just the healer LB3 because I thought it looked really neat. Now this is the only time in the song where I think there is like a jump, because in this whole song there's parts of it where it goes da 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 da. Not like that, like where like it basically cuts back to itself. Like an example is like right here where it goes. Where it goes da 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 da. Now I think that actually happens here as well. Like that's where that part of the song comes up again. But it didn't really sound like that to me, so I didn't really do anything. I also just thought this animation could just play here by itself. Then I just wanted a part where it looked like my Hrothgar was saying the lyrics, because I thought that would have been cool. And it also just breaks it up a little bit. Now this was an edit that I kept editing, because at first it was just, oh, he snaps, and it gets you to, like, he snaps right there, and then there's obviously the more that plays, and it's just, oh, we're here. But I wanted to push it. I wanted to push this because I felt like that was way too static for this, and it's just kind of like it felt kind of lazy. So, um, there's the turn, which was actually the rotation was one of the last things I added. I had a little effect there where it's like the weird ass like movie studio calls it find edges. I don't know exactly what that means, but I like it because I combine that with another effect. What is that one called? Convulsion kernel? That's how you say that. Because originally it was just gonna be like, here I'll show. Originally it was gonna look something like, oh, I have a few effects. Oh wait. Yeah, I have like a few effects going on here. So originally it was gonna look like this without like the spin there. Oh well, I didn't realize that kind of just that happens too. I didn't actually realize that. Oh, I think it's like the effect ending there. That looks kind of cool. But then I was like, what if we add that? Because I want to like make it so it looks like when he was snapping, it was like breaking the screen like it was glass, but I couldn't find like a glass breaking kind of effect there. So I just did that. I think this also works out better because it looks like he's dragging you into space or something, which leads perfectly into this, which is the Red Mage LB3, and there's like a little space background here. And this was really hard for me to shoot. Not because it was like hard to shoot, but it was like, how do I tackle this? Because the Red Mage LB3 is very big, and I didn't know like how I'd want it to be in here. Because I wanted it to be in here, but I didn't know how I wanted it to be in here. Because it's like, oh, if I want like the whole effect on my character, it's gonna look really small. It's like, do I want that, or what angle do I want? And I eventually just I recorded a few different angles, and I really liked this one because you get to see little what is it? These little sigils here, up here, which I timed that with the music as well, because there's a little sound effect that plays in the song right about here, and I made sure it timed up when the sigils glow up. I thought that was neat. Or maybe it was a little bit earlier, but my point is, it's timed with them. Either they stop moving or with them glowing up. It's one or the other. And then I really like the pose right here. That one. And I don't know how the fuck I made this work, because you can actually clearly see his silhouette, which was very impressive. I thought it was gonna be like way too bright and you couldn't see the silhouette, but I'm very glad for that. Anyways, this is kind of like whatever footage, and I was like, oh, what if I do a little effect here? There wasn't like any like real thought behind this. I just thought, oh, like a little backflip in underwater is kind of cute, but like I feel like I could probably do a little bit more with it. There were a lot of shots like this where I'm like, I feel like I have to do a little bit more. I didn't want to just like record game footage of an animation you can do in game at like a fancy camera angle. I tried to do as much as I could with as little as I had. And so he goes in on himself. This is kind of like I wanted to put this spell in the video as well because I really like this spell, how this looks. So I wasn't really too sure how I put in here. If I could replace it, I probably might have, or just get it at a different angle or something. I don't really think it's like crazy. This part's cool though, because it's the white mage holy, but obviously the animation repeats right there. I thought that looked cool because it matches up with the music, which, like I said, I'll go back, let you listen to it. This is just kind of filler. The only thing I like about this shot here is that when the sword connects to the shoulder there, there's a little snap in the song that matches up with that. This was a fun one. I was not gonna put dancer on here at all because it's mainly the three job classes I main. And I guess I kinda main dancer. I don't know, I play dancer occasionally. But I did want to put like something on dancer on here. It was really hard because I went through a lot of the dancer's abilities, and I didn't feel like a lot of the animations there were good for this video in particular. So I actually had to like, I went through a lot of them, but I eventually was like, you know what? If I'm gonna put dancer in here, I want to put B pose because I thought B pose fit well, especially because I wanted to time the music with the jump there because that's when it also goes like you hear it like hit multiple times, and I was like, I thought that was cool. I don't really have like a lot of glamours for dancer, so I also don't have a lot of glamours that are kind of like class universal. And it was kind of weird because like for this one, they have to be all dancer glamours because there's no other way to do this pose, this B pose. So I wish I made more just for that, but you do what you got. Also, this part feels really fluid for some reason. I don't know why, because like his head is going down there. But oh, I think I can see why. Because it kind of matches up, like his left kind of matches up with the left in there. I think that's why it looks so fluid to me. Obviously, it's not perfect, but then like obviously this is a camera angle change. Because I thought this was like a really cool animation to view from above, just because it's like, oh, he's reaching above, and this is like what the fuck is this spell called? Well, it's not a spell; it's a battle skill. It's a weapon skill. I don't remember. I just think it looks really cool because he's like, oh, it's the combo move to unleash, which you don't get until mid fucking 70s. It's so weird because I go to play other tanks and it's like, oh, they have their AoE continuation at least by 50, but Dark Knight doesn't get that until literally 72, I think. Or is it 74? I don't remember. I want to say the ability is called Saltworth Soul or something like that. I think it's the name of another Dark Knight ability, but still looks cool. I was like, oh, he's kind of going downward, and this kind of looks like this kind of looked like a good follow up to it because I wanted Impact to be in here as well because it's a very iconic Red Mage spell. But for some reason, Impact does it on yourself when you G pose without a target. I guess the game doesn't know where to put it, so it just kind of puts it on the first target it can find, which is you. That's what I'm guessing is happening, by the way. I don't actually know. So, yeah, I just kind of put it over me, and I was like, oh, that looks like a cool transition, but that's really about it. And that happens. I will admit, like, when I recorded this is like one of the last things I recorded. I was looking for something to fill space. Like, I was like, oh, this could work. And I didn't really show off that much of the Dark Knight skills, so I was like, why not? And then the Lolly Ho, which is this is actually the last shot I recorded for this whole video here. I was thinking about like an emote I could just put in here real quickly, and I was like, oh, Lolly Ho works because it's like a hello kind of emote. Like, hey, how's it going? And then the way that it looks is really cute too. So I was like, you know what? There you go. And then this was just a white mage B pose I recorded because I was like, I don't have any. Because I did the B pose for Dark Knight, I did the B pose for Red Mage, and I guess I did the B pose for Dancer. Well, this actually I did Dancer, the Dancer B pose after this, but at the time I was like, well, I did Red Mage and Dark Knight. I probably should get White Mage in there somewhere because I really like the bow. And I was like, that would be a good kind of like a closing because it's like, oh, you're at the end. I'm bowing out, like like you're bowing on a stage, and also just matched up with the music. Cause the music kind of goes like a little crazy here. Like, here you can listen to it. So I made sure that time's up with the music. I think for the most part, I did a pretty good job. Um, this part was a little hard because it's like I had to slow down the song and listen to the beat to make sure it got synced up as best as I can. But honestly, like when it gets to this part, you don't even notice it. I don't think. Like if it is out of sync, it's very hard to notice. And yeah, it's the whole video. There you go. I guess one other thing that's kind of funny, choosing Emotional Prism over Plastic Love. Emotional Prism is that it samples a song called Fantasy by, I don't know how to say it. I'll put the name on screen right here. But yeah, um, in the song, she literally says, Labs is a prismatic fantasy. That's just a rough translation. But she says fantasy in English there. And it's just kind of funny because it's like, oh, you're playing Final Fantasy 14. I got him. That was more of something like an afterthought. I didn't even think about that until like after putting everything together. And it's really weird because it's like there's emphasis on the fantasy part because she's saying it in English. Like everything else is in Japanese, but yeah. I think Emotional Prism also samples another song for the later half of it, but you don't hear the later half of it in the video because I cut it off before it samples the other one. But yeah, I was gonna choose Plastic Love instead, but I was like, no, I like the lyrics for Fantasy a little bit more. At least the ones that are sampled in Emotional Prism. They're both love songs, but I do like the what is it? One of the lyrics in here. It's just I really like the lyric, and that kind of bothered me. It's like I feel like I could be a brand new person, and like obviously the context of the song, that's a completely different meaning. In fact, this is I'm picking this off of a YouTube video that has captions, so this translation might even be too literal. I'm not aware of it if it is or not, but I really like that because it's kind of like you're going into an MMO, and obviously you kind of are a brand new person in the sense of like this is a different you, like a brand new you in this virtual space. I don't know, it kind of vibes with me in that kind of sense, and half the reason why I picked it just for that lyric alone. Also, it's a really good song, and the Emotional Prism mashup of it, where they kind of remixed it, sounds really good. Listening to the original where they sampled the song from, still a really good song. So yeah, that's basically my whole commentary on this video. I don't got anything else to say. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment below, and maybe I'll get to them eventually. Yeah, I don't got anything else to say. I hope you enjoy. Bye.